So are aspirants becoming political fodder, or this is how the BJP is trying to put all the blame on the opposition parties, especially the Congress? Let's debate and discuss. I'm joined on the panel tonight. Dr. Nazeer Hussain, he's also a member of the Rajya Sabha, he's a Congress spokesperson. Sanju Verma from the Bharatiya Janata Party. First to you, Mr. Hussain, at a time when there are already massive violence that is erupting across the country, do you think today's Congress Satyagraha and the support to the protests, would it be not seen as inciting violence further, sir?
How can a peaceful satyagraha be an incitement to violence? People, especially the youth from different parts of the country, are agitating, they are protesting, they are up in arms against the government. Not for only the Agnipath scheme. They are up in arms because of the frustration. There's deep frustration, there's lots of distress, there is unrest among the youth of this country. Because for all the hollow slogans the Prime Minister of this country has given in 2014 and 2019 election. So 2 crore jobs, it should have been about 16 crore jobs by now. All of a sudden he comes and says, yes, we will give about 10 lakh jobs. They are not the new jobs, but they are the jobs that's only about filling up the vacancies that are there. Even that they should have done. There are 60 lakh vacancies in India today. 30 lakhs in the central government and 30 lakhs in the state government. At least if they could have filled up that, there could have been some sort of an for them that they would have managed with those jobs, and they could have been assured that more jobs will come in the future. Every time they come up with some sort of a scheme, whether it is demonetization, GST, or giving a lockdown in the midnight, or it is the farm laws, or now this Agnipath scheme.
Okay.
Why is it the people of the country, the youth of the country, they are not in a position to understand? It is only the BJP and the BJP cadres who understand the schemes of the government.
Let's take that question. That's an important question. Let's take that to the BJP. Sanju Verma, did the government learn nothing, no lesson from the farm law agitation? First announced, then after the protests erupt, you suggest changes, because now quoting the farm law rollback, the protesters here will also expect a rollback with these protests. How can the government not think through this? And at a time when the BJP should be explaining and giving clarity, they are rather just blaming the opposition here. Sanju.
You know, Pooja, with no offense to you, you gave a proper introduction of the panelist saying he is a Rajya Sabha MP, a Congress spokesperson. You said Sanju Verma from the Bharatiya Janata Party. Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay, continue.
You stand corrected.
Okay.
Yes. Now let me come to the moot point. Let me give you an answer, point by point rebuttal. First and foremost, there is this narrative, Pooja, that Agnipath was launched in haste. I simply have this to say. Do I believe the gentleman sitting here? Do I believe Rahul Gandhi? Do I believe Priyanka Vadra? Or do I believe the 3 service chiefs? Be it the Army Chief, Mr. Manoj Pandey,
yes.
Admiral, R. Hari Kumar, who was there on your channel, saying he endorses Agnipath, even Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary. I would any day believe the 3 service chiefs who have a lot more credibility than the entire Congress and the likes of N.K. Stalin and Asaduddin Owaisi put together. So this scheme was thought through over 2 years, and then we came out with it. Yes, you might want to argue, why is it that the government has been announcing, certain addendums to the scheme? My simple argument there is this. When Rajnath Singh, the Honorable Defence Minister, announced the scheme, he clearly said that this is an evolving process, and if there is constructive feedback, that will be taken on board.
Okay.
Now, you can't fault the BJP for taking constructive feedback on board. And what have we said? We have said that as a one-time waiver, because in the last 2 years, normal recruitment process was impaired due to COVID, and not just in India, but elsewhere in the world as well.
Yes.
There will be a one-time age relaxation from 21 to 23 years, which means that in CAPF and Assam Rifles, where we've announced a 10% reservation.
But it's come after the protest, Sanju. That's the point.
Pooja, let me just finish.
Sure.
You did not interrupt him. I'm completing
Sure.
in 20 seconds. For the 75% who are not going to be inducted, since only 25% of Agniveers will be inducted into the regular cadre, for the balance 75%, Pooja, quickly in 20 seconds, Ministry of Defence says in 16 defence PSUs,
yes.
the balance 75% will be absorbed. Ministry of Shipping and Transport has said, which nobody is talking about, that the balance 75% will also be absorbed into the highly skilled and remunerative merchant navy, and the Ministry of Home Affairs, last but not the least, has said 10% reservation in CAPF and in Assam Rifles. In Assam Rifles alone, today we have about 73,000 odd vacancies, is what your own channel has said 24 hours back. I want to ask one thing, Pooja. Any sane-minded Indian, much less somebody who's an army aspirant, is your manner of voicing a protest or dissent burning down train bogies, burning down buses, indulging in rampant and mindless arson, loot and violence, and the Congress is saying that ये तो सही हो रहा है.
That's a question that many are asking. Can these be the armed forces aspirants? Yes. Therefore, Mr. Hussain, and that video that Sanju Verma is referring to, that has been tweeted by Amit Malviya, where Rahul Gandhi had said earlier कि देश में आग लग जाएगी. Connected to that is how the Uttar Pradesh police has arrested some accused. They are claiming they were Congress youth leaders. They were posing as fake army aspirant protesters and were inciting violence. So that's also a direct allegation that's come in against the Congress netas.
Pooja, the only thing the Bharatiya Janata Party can do in this country is they don't know how to gown. They have their misplaced priorities. Their schemes are ill prepared. No consultations with the stakeholders. They come out and their scheme fail. There are lots of confusion in the country, and they say that the Congress is creating this confusion. Why blame the opposition parties for every failure of yours? Why create confusion for every confusion that you are creating in the country? Now let me say, there's one Mr. Kishan Reddy, who is a minister in the union government. He says that this defense sector, these positions will be used to instill skill. They say that there will be skill development. Skill development of what? Drivers, electricians, dhobis and cooks. This is not what I am saying. This is Mr. Kishan Reddy.
Sanju Verma, not only Kishan Reddy, but also Kailash Vijayvargiya.
Yes. Let me finish, Pooja. Let me finish. There's another minister, Kailash Vijayvargiya. Kailash Vijayvargiya says that after they are removed after the 4 years, they will be placed as chowkidars in BJP offices. This is what is happening to the youth of this country. After they are studying very hard, they should become chowkidars in the BJP's offices.
Sanju, let her, no, you made your point, sir. Sir, you made your point. Sanju needs to respond. Let's give her time to respond. Why are your party netas saying these comments of a BJP office ke bahar security guards mein priority denge? It's not a respectful tone, Sanju. And at this point, you are explaining so elaborately all the points, but clearly Owaisi, Priyanka Chaturvedi have jumped into and using those same comments by your party netas to target the BJP.
Okay, you know, Pooja, I find it extremely disconcerting, annoying, although I'm not surprised that the Congress chooses to do selective outrage on the comments of G. Kishan Reddy and Kailash Vijayvargiya, but they will not applaud the army chief, they will not applaud the navy chief, they will not applaud the head of the armed forces, they will not applaud Rajnath Singh. Forget about applauding Narendra Modi. We know your...
They are not...
Pooja, let her respond. Mr. Hussain, let her respond. Let her respond. Yes, go ahead, Sanju.
Do not interrupt.
Yes, go ahead.
Do not interrupt.
Pooja, they are not ordinary souls. They are union ministers.
Yes.
They are the face of the government.
Yes, they are ministers, but Sanju needs to respond. Mr. Hussain, I'll request you to please hold back. Let her respond. Let's listen in what the BJP spokesperson has to say.
Ministers in Modi government.
That's correct.
Can you please ask this man to shut up? Thank you.
Okay, let's control our language. Sanju, go ahead, please.
No, because you know he's being...
Mind your language. Mind your language.
Okay.
You shut up. I mean the people of the country, the youth of this country.
Mr. Hussain, Sanju, both of you are senior spokespersons of the party. Okay, yes.
If you don't answer, don't use foul language on a national television channel.
Sanju,
if you don't have
go ahead. Let's not divert.
Don't go on debate for television channels.
We will not divert from the issue. Sanju Verma, at this point, how do you think these comments need to be taken? See how the Congress is jumping into these random comments that have been made by your party.
She can't be debating today without taking her comment.
Okay.
She can't be debating her.
Mr. Hussain, let's not distract. Yes, Sanjay, go ahead.
Okay. Pooja, you know, I will come to my language. The same Rahul Gandhi went about town calling Prime Minister Chaukidar Chor hai. So Mr. Hussain, stop giving me a bhashan. Now coming to the more important point. Pooja, we have said that after completion of 4 years, the 75% which will not be regularized, what are the options? A, are they going to be left high and dry? No.
Okay.
Apart from the fact that Ministry of Shipping, Ministry of Defence, Ministry of Home Affairs have announced reservation in various government jobs, we are also saying that you have a kitty of 11.71 lakh rupees, you have an insurance cover of 48 lakh rupees, you have the stamp of the Indian Army, you have received world-class on-the-job training for 4 years,
Okay.
you are ready to take on the world, you will be given concessional education loan, you will be given concessional bank loan if you want to become an entrepreneur, you will also get preference in private sector jobs because you will be given a...
So why would then Kailash Vijaywargiya say they'll become guards outside the BJP office, will give them priority?
And Priyanka Vadra need to know that their toolkit narrative is not going to work. आप देश को आग में झोंकने की जो बात कर रहे हो राहुल गांधी, आपका ये हसीन मुंगेरी लाल का सपना, मुंगेरी लाल
Mr. Nazeer Hussain, country में आग लग जाएगी for Rahul Gandhi to say that, and as it appears that has happened, plus some of the arrested by Uttar Pradesh police are part of the Congress, they are young leaders. It doesn't look well for the Congress party at all, and BJP is ensuring that your party is cornered over it.
Pooja, Rahul Gandhi spoke about demonetization, that came true. He spoke about GST, that came true. He spoke about COVID crisis, that came true. He spoke about Galwan crisis, that came true. He spoke about all these issues in the past, and he said this is what is going to happen. That is what he exactly said. He said that the youth of this country are frustrated. There are no jobs. There's no money in their pockets. And this BJP government, especially Mr. Narendra Modi, who is doing dalali in terms of calling up the President of Sri Lanka and recommending his crony capitalist friend Adani for a contract. He is calling up the President of Sri Lankan government. He is calling the government, President of Sri Lankan government.
Okay, Mr. Hussain, let's not make claims here. I request you to please stay with the issue. Mr. Hussain. Mr. Hussain, it is my request. The viewers are watching. The viewers are watching. And for respect to the viewers, let's stick to the topic today.
Okay. If he had used this money for the youth of this country, they wouldn't have been doing this what they are doing now.
तुम जैसे निकम्मे लोग कभी बदल नहीं सकते।
अरे वही है ना, तुम लोग निकम्मे क्या दलाली कर रहे हैं।
I will request both the Congress spokesperson and the BJP spokesperson to restrain. Sanju, let me ask you this question. Okay. All right. Nazeer Hussain, I'll request you to please quiet down. I would request for his fader now to be put down. Please, Sanju, let's ask you this question before you wrap up. Sanju, listen to me. What I'm asking is, at this point, because the violence is escalating, the Tri-Services was briefing today, don't you think the Congress and specifically the government at this point take all the politicians ensuring that they go ahead and give more clarity that should have come in the first place? They need to do it now rather than have Kailash Vijaywargiya or Kishan Reddy make all sorts of comments. Do you think the government needs to put that plan in place so that the aspirants do not get provoked and misled?
You know, Pooja, did you see the obnoxious comment by this uncouth man, Mr. Hussain, about the Prime Minister calling him a dalal?
And I did interrupt him. Yes, please go ahead.
From the Congress?
Yes, I did interrupt him. Go ahead.
Of goons the Congress is nurturing? I just want to say one thing, Pooja. Cut to the chase. Cut to the chase. It is as simple as this, that be it announcing a 5.25 lakh crore for the defense outlay in this year's budget, be saying we will induct women and girls on a war footing as part of NCC cadets and in the, Sainik schools, be it corporatizing defense...
Mr. Nazeer Hussain, I do have another question. It's a final question, yes. Let's go across to the Congress spokesperson, sir. As an opposition party, and one of the main opposition party, we're talking about the armed forces here. shouldn't the opposition party come on the same track right now with the government support, ensure that the young aspirants are encouraged with the reforms? Because every time if there's a protest, how can we actually have reforms which are needed in the armed forces? Because right now we're talking about violence and arson. We're talking about lives at stake, and if that clarity does not come, it's going to become a problem.
This man is a goon. He was
Pooja,
abusing the Prime
whose
Minister.
duty is it to
Let him
explain the scheme of the government? It is the duty and the responsibility of all the ministers that are there in the government to explain to the people of this country about the scheme. Is there clarity on this scheme? There is no clarity on this scheme. This is ill-prepared, not consulted. Stakeholders are not involved. And there's lots of confusion. We have asked the youth of this country, our president, while being in the hospital, she is being operated. She comes out and she is asking and appealing to the youth of this country to not to take law into their hands, to not to indulge in violence, to not to indulge in arson. And we have done
Meanwhile,
a peaceful satyagraha.
I want to thank Sanju Verma, I want to thank Nazeer Hussain, because this, remember, is a massive political war of words. The Congress and the opposition says this is going to become a disaster for the armed forces and the country. BJP and the government says these are much needed reforms. Even the tri-services today have said we were waiting for these reforms to come, and now it is for the clarity to go ahead.